Perfect. Thank you, everybody. This is Awaken Thriving, and today we have with us Win Win. She's a financial strategist. She's a very typical financial advisor, which I find to be really refreshing and cool, and really well needed in this space right now. So, Win Win, so happy to have you on. Tell us a little bit about you.
Oh, thanks for having me, Andrea. It means so much to be here. A little bit about me. Where do I begin? I would say my biggest accomplishments would be the fact that I'm a mom of four, been a stepmom since I was 19 years old, really, and she was 3. Now she's 21, and I have 3 of my own as well. So a 9-year-old, 11-year-old, 14-year-old, 21-year-old. So that's kind of crazy. But I come from a background of like the corporate grind. I'm sure we've all been there, right?
Yeah.
Corporate grind, thinking like, oh my gosh, this is it. This is where it's at. I'm set. And I gave it all up to raise the kids. So I went into that transition, and it wasn't easy, but it was definitely a much needed time of change for our family to really grow and to really be there for the kids. As I was working up the ladder, I was in new home consulting for a new home developer, privately held company, was getting my feet wet, doing great things, helping a ton of families with their biggest financial commitment of their lives. So it was a really fun role. Pre-kids, it was great. Like, you could dive in, make it your all, right? But then I realized quickly, oh my gosh, I'm getting paid $1,500 per $1.6 million home.
Yeah.
How would you feel, Andrea?
Getting paid that much for putting that much work into a home, I want more.
Yeah, right. I wanted more, and I loved doing what I was doing, but I was just so torn about, gosh, I feel like I'm being taken advantage of.
Yeah.
Because you are, but you're new, so you just go through it and you do what you can. But I put it out in the universe. I was like, I could use a change. And then that week, someone walked through the doors, and I demonstrated the homes, walked him through the process, and then he slipped me his card and said, hey, I'm not looking for a home, but I'm looking for a consultant for our new home community in San Jose, where I'm from. I was like, wow, awesome. I would love to learn more. So I went through the interview process, and now I'm making 6 figures at 22 years old. I am set. Life is good, right? I have a 401k. This is awesome. They do a match. Like, I am set. And then I quickly realized, Andrea, that I worked at the expense of having no quality of life. No time. I was working every weekend, every holiday. I was pregnant like 3 times throughout this career. I remember shaking because I didn't have time to even sip water because I was running that sales floor. And it was madness. I was averaging about $150,000 a year. The most I ever made, because I was capped, was $199,000. $199,000. And at that time I thought, oh yeah, this is so worth it. This is the life. I'm living in the Silicon Valley. This is it. This is it. But then I realized, oh my gosh, now I have kids, and this lifestyle or lack of lifestyle is not conducive to having young children. I wasn't about to, work so hard to pay someone else to raise my children, so I gave that all up, and I became a stay-at-home mom. And that was one of the biggest and hardest decisions I had ever made in my life. And I will say, I went through depression for about 6 months. So I was like, what am I doing with myself? Like, talk about losing your identity, losing all you felt like you brought value into this world, and now it's just been stripped from you. And I'm not saying that being a mom isn't all that, because it really is. I'm so grateful, so grateful. But you go through that transition, and so here I am, stay-at-home mom, becoming like CEO of the house, right? Trying to figure it all out. And we moved from San Jose. So I was born and raised in Eastside San Jose. We grew up really poor. My parents are actually refugees from Vietnam, right? They escaped on boat in 1979 with my brother, had me. Every breath is a miracle. The fact that I'm here, the fact that I'm here and that I have 4 kids, and that we're like here in Southern California too. But what happened was my ex-husband, so I'm a single mom, right? I raised my kids pretty much full time on my own. He got a gig, dream job opportunity, and we moved here to SoCal. I knew no one. I was pretty much on my own. In San Jose, I had my mom, so she helped raise the kids with me. We were tag teaming, So moving here, it was a big change. But if I can be just completely real, this is a real talk, right? So we can be completely real.
Yes, definitely.
So at this point, I've been a stay-at-home mom for about a good 3 years. A year moving into Southern California, I lost my dad. And that was a rough time. Like, my dad was my best friend. And weeks after losing my dad, I found out that I was now dealing with betrayal and losing my other best friend. Like, it was essentially as if I lost the two male men roles and figures in my life at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so broken. But everything is a blessing, right? Everything is a blessing. And I will say, in my darkest moment in that time, I did not realize that it was going to push me into like the light of my purpose, which is like all the things I'm going to share with you guys today. And I hope you guys walk away with like a lot of value. And yeah, there's a story to all this because it's the truth, and I wish I knew a lot of this sooner. So I have a business degree. And the fact is, I knew nothing about money. I knew nothing about money, and I have a business degree, right? Let me ask you, did you learn about money in school, Andrea?
I don't think anybody learns about money in school, right? That's not really a class they offer.
Isn't that kind of sad?
Still to this day, they don't offer that, I don't believe.
Right. I mean, and sadly, we don't even learn it in business school. I come from that, have a magna cum laude, like 4-year degree, right?
Yeah.
And knew none of this. So in that moment of feeling like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do next? The first question I had was, what are we going to do about our money? What next, right? What next? And as I'm thinking this, because I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I got to start over. I got to go back into the workforce, right? My little babies are little babies, but I got to get back to it. Mama's on her own now, right? There's like this like push for independence and push for, oh my gosh, what next? And so a couple weeks after that, so it's literally back to back to back.
So Ben, real quick. So when you say, so you and your husband kind of split at that time, is that correct?
Yeah, you got it.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was like the beginning of our separation.
Okay.
Beginning of our separation. And, I got this phone call that really changed my life at that time. Like, timing. So lose my dad, go through that with my ex, right? Back to back within weeks of each other. And then another couple of weeks, my mom calls. She calls and she's in tears. And I'm like, what's going on, Mom? And she opens up and says, I got the check. And I was like, what are you talking about? I didn't understand what she was talking about. So back in 1996, my parents bought a home, right? They came with nothing. They knew not a word of English, but they made a lot of sacrifices and worked really hard. I now understand why I got all the no's in my life. No to karate lessons, right? No to this, no to that, no to this, because they were saving, right? They were saving to buy a home, the American dream. So in 1996, that happened for them. And then they were advised by their real estate agent. So I want to give mad props to real estate agents, that do this beyond their role, and advise my parents to get life insurance. So my parents have been clients with Transamerica, the company I work with, since 1996, right? So my parents were both insured. And, the last 3 years of my dad's life was the most difficult. My dad had been unemployed for like the last 10 years of his life. My mom's a hairdresser, doesn't make a lot of money, as you can imagine. She's on her feet all day long, right? All day long. She works so hard. And here he is going in and out of the emergency room over 21 times in the last 3 years. Imagine how much my mom racked up in financial debt, right? For medical bills, which we know is not cheap. It is not cheap. And it's all out of pocket. My mom doesn't have like employer sponsored benefits or anything like that.
Yeah.
So when she called and said, I got the check, then I realized it clicked. I was like, oh, it was the life insurance policy that my parents both had on themselves, since the time they bought their home.
Yeah.
And then she said the magic words, Andrea, and this opened up my whole life and my whole purpose of really just educating people and bringing awareness to the truths about money, how it works, how to be ahead of the game, And she said, they also said it's tax-free.
Mm.
And so when you look around, Andrea, like everything you have, all your possessions, right? Like the makeup on our face even,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
The lighting that we have, right?
Yeah.
Nothing's tax-free, is it?
No.
Nothing.
No.
And so I thought, wait, what? Life insurance, the death benefits, tax-free? I need to dig into more of this. I mean, if this is tax-free, what else is?
Yeah.
There's gotta be some strategies out there that we don't know about. And maybe this is one of them, right? And so I started to research, did a ton of just due diligence, did my own research. And at the same time, talk about being pushed, okay?
Yeah.
Same week, my ex, he was proposed to go to this business trip, and he knew he didn't want to go because it was in Malaysia and he needed to get onto the Malaysian airplane. And it was right after the 2 Malaysian airplanes crashed and disappeared. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Back to back. Now he needed to get on there. There was no avoiding that plane. So I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I am a stay-at-home mom now, right? It's been over 4 years that I've been out of the workforce.
Yeah.
If anything happened to my ex, we would be completely screwed.
Yeah.
Emotionally, psychologically, financially, we are screwed.
Yeah.
So I had one of the most awkward conversations. But I think it's a different conversation that needs to be had, ladies especially, men too.
Yeah.
Sit down with your spouse, sit down with, your baby daddy, your baby mama, about the importance of protecting your children and yourself,
Yeah.
So at this time, we have 4 kids. We don't have any life insurance. I just learned of this whole life insurance thing being tax-free, right?
Yeah.
And so I sat down with him and I said, this is going to be an awkward conversation, in transparency.
Yeah.
He was like, okay. So here's the thing. If something happened to you, we would be completely screwed.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about looking into life insurance? And not just for you, but for me too. I mean, how much would it cost to replace all that I do inside the home? Ladies, to all you stay-at-home mamas out there, especially, you are worth so much. You are so valuable. It would cost so much to replace all that you do.
Yeah.
All that you do. You are a gift. You bring so much value to the family, to the home, to the unit, And so I said, I want it on me too. But how do you feel about getting on you as well before you go? He was like, no, we needed this. So I'm so grateful. So grateful. So what happened was I reached out to the advisor who helped my family with Transamerica. Yeah. And they're all independent advisors. Everyone's different. I'm not going to say we're all the same because we're not, But I knew that he did everything. He was completely full service. We needed advice on college savings too for our kids, right? Retirement planning, life insurance, all that stuff that I knew nothing about. Yeah. And so I reached out to him and he came over to our home. That's kind of crazy, but he came to us because we're all about no family left behind. And we realized families don't have the time nor the means or financial means to take a day off to go talk about what they have or don't have. And that's money, right? And so he came to our home and he just educated me on how money works, really how to outsmart taxes, how to get ahead, right? Well, how does compound interest work? How can you get that working in your life better, harder for you? Yeah. And I was just blown away. I was blown away by the fact that I gave him full permission to sell me life insurance, but he just educated me instead. And it was the most financial peace of mind that I've ever gotten in my life, So I did a ton of research. He gave me some solutions and options, did a ton of research. And then I came back and I said, we love this. So we proceeded. And then we became happy clients. And I saw how my money was growing without risk, and that it's tax advantaged. I thought, oh my gosh, like everyone needs to know this. Yeah. So about a year later was when I reached out and I begged to get on board. And I've been with the company ever since. It's been 5 years now. I absolutely love it. I never saw myself in finance. I know I look like I'm all about loving math.
Yes.
But there's so much more to me. I love helping people. I love family, and I love all that stuff and making an impact, right? Making an impact and educating and sharing. And that's more to what I do, but it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. It's exciting. It's not easy. because we all have different relationships with our money, right?
Yeah.
Can you agree that most of us rather talk about sex than money?
Well, I would hope people would be open to talking about sex, but no, they're not. And finance is definitely not. I
But
feel like they're barely inching towards sex sometimes, let
that's
alone
true.
finances.
Yeah, exactly. Like more people would rather talk that than this, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think that's like one of the biggest problems, why we're in this darkness.
Mhm.
And it's because we're not open enough to share it. So like I'm all about just like let's remove the shame, right?
Yeah.
And let's like we all fear what we don't understand. So
Yeah.
let's talk about it, right? Let's build a good relationship with money, where there's a lot of confidence because you understand it. How about that?
Yeah. And I think a lot of people, now that you brought the sex into it, I feel like parents talk as much to their children about sex as they do finance when they're young. They don't talk to them about sex. I know my sex talk was pretty sad, let
Yeah.
alone finance. I don't think I was ever told. I think the only thing I was told about money as a child was don't ever get a credit card. And then I was told about sex. That's what adults do. This are the two things of advice for sex and money as a child I was given. And I unfortunately think a lot of people, that's all they hear about those two subjects when they're children, unfortunately.
That's so true. And I love that you mentioned that
Mm.
because like the whole vision with what we do, right? With what my team is doing is we're all about, yes, taking an educational approach. It's very holistic, right? We
Yeah.
offer a free financial plan. There's no obligation, there's no pressure, but
Mhm.
like how cool would it be to actually have a plan,
Yeah.
you know? To have a plan because the likelihood of you reaching your goals because you actually have a plan is that much higher
Yeah.
because you have a plan, you have a target to hit, right? And one of our biggest goals is to teach children as well, the next
Mm.
generation. Because yes, there is a lack of awareness
Yeah.
about things that really matter because sex education is really important. But is
Mhm.
it more important than money? But we're learning about sex through school. Is that crazy?
A little bit.
We're not learning, yeah, but very little on how they teach it. I'm not
Yeah.
sure, right? I'm not sure
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
that. And so, like, our vision is yes, let's educate adults because we need it too. And the thing is, with our parents, they didn't tell us because they didn't know about it either. So it's also not their fault, you know? And culturally, we didn't talk about sex. So my mom definitely didn't talk to me about it either, you know?
Yeah.
But it was a shame thing. It was a
Yeah.
shame thing, right?
Yeah.
And with money, however, like, as you know, our educational systems are broken.
Yeah.
They're not really teaching us everything we should be knowing. I mean, how much of what we learn in school do we use today?
Writing. That's it. Writing, right? Let me think.
Oh, writing,
And we
reading.
use math,
Yeah.
sure, but not like the advanced maths that we are required to take.
Yeah, we learn so many abstract things, right? Or we're
Yeah.
learning about Christopher Columbus like a million times, but we don't know anything about the basics of money. So imagine if there was a Money 101 class that
Yes.
teaches you the basics.
Yeah.
How ahead of the game would you be if you just knew the rules of it, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what we're trying to change. And it's cool because, you know, we're doing that now. And it's a lot of fun because we want to also remove the fear out of it. We want to make it fun. You know, when you think financial services, does
Yeah.
that sound fun to you?
I don't know. I mean, I know you, so I know it's fun.
Yeah, so that's the whole thing, right? Like
Yeah.
atypical financial advisor, FAAF. Because, right? Because we want to make it fun. We
Mhm.
want to make it accessible. We want it so people don't feel pressure. There are no quotas with our company too. And you'll feel that with us. You know, you'll feel that with at least me and my team because we're all very heart-centered, right? We're
Mhm.
all very about like just leading with our heart and just educating. And hey, if you want something cool, maybe hopefully I've earned your business, but
Yeah.
there's no obligation, right? It's just
Yeah.
learn what you can, take advantage of what you can. And knowledge is only truly powerful when applied, right? So you can take all the knowledge you want, but is it really powerful if you don't apply it?
No, no.
Really?
I've talked to people about this, other guests that I've had on, and there's so many people that read all these books and do all these programs, and they have all this knowledge, but they don't apply it. So it's virtually useless because
It's
you
like
have to apply that knowledge in
ex-
order for it to be beneficial to you.
exactly. I love that. I love that. And it's so, so true. So, like, I want to share with you guys if that's okay. because I'm all about like, let's jam pack as much value, right? Let's share the truth. Let's debunk myths. So I want to give you guys a little money lesson.
Yes.
Is that cool?
Yes.
Okay. Because the thing is, we can't evade taxes, right? We have to pay our taxes.
Yes.
The IRS is doing their thing, right? They're doing their thing, and and we can evade. However, if I can show you ways to outsmart taxes,
okay, yes,
more of your hard-earned money, would you like to know how? Yes. All right, okay. Seems a little complicated, seems a little boring, but I'll try to make it fun and as simple as possible, right? So we've got about 10 minutes on the clock.
Yes.
I'm going to try to get through this in 5. But here's the thing. Depending on where you're going to invest your money, these different vehicles, these different accounts have different tax treatments. Okay, so there are really 3 different tax categories depending on where your money sits, where your money is being held. Okay, so the 3 are right here. You got taxable, see that?
Yes.
Tax deferred and tax advantaged. Okay. Of the 3, what sounds the best to you?
Advantage.
Advantage. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, throughout our financial timeline, we're going to have our money in all those places. But the more you can have in tax advantage, the better off you'll be. And I'm going to explain that. Okay. So let's break it down one by one. So taxable would be things like savings accounts, stocks, bonds, mutual funds. Okay. Every year your money grows and you realize gains, you're going to have to pay what's called capital gains tax on that. Okay. And that's upwards of 15-20%. So imagine how slowly your money is growing if every year 20% is getting knocked off. 20% is getting knocked off.
Yeah.
The good thing about taxable is that it's liquid. You can access anytime. So for short-term goals, this is a great place to hold your money. But if you want to get ahead, right, and keep more, this is not quite the place to be. Okay. So when it comes to long-term goals, you want to consider options that are tax deferred, like tax later, kind of like a 401k, right? 403b, a traditional IRA. Here, how it works is you're investing pre-tax dollars, okay? You're investing pre-tax dollars. So you don't pay any income tax on your money this year. You're going to defer that. You're going to pay it later. So while your money is growing, it grows tax-free. But guess what happens at withdrawal?
You've got to pay the taxes.
You got it. You got it. How much? How much will we have?
20%.
Great question. Nobody knows. So you're not alone. You are a winner.
Oh, good. Glad I'm winning.
Yeah, so it just depends on what income tax brackets will be at that time and how much you're pulling out, because you haven't paid any taxes then. So all your growth, all your gains, all your contributions will be taxed as income as you withdraw it. And what will income tax brackets be by the time we retire? You know, in 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, maybe for some just starting off at 20, right? We don't know. No. It's a mysterious question. We don't know. We don't know what the answer is. That to me is kind of scary.
Yeah.
Right? That to me is kind of scary. It's kind of like, let's say you wanted to buy a home, Andrea, and you were ready, and I was the best lender. And you came to me and you asked me what the interest rate would be, right? That would be your first question about this loan. Like, what's the interest rate? And my response would be, Andrea, don't worry, girl. I'll let you know when we get there in 20, 30 years. How about that? No. No thanks. No thanks. That's pretty scary. So based on income tax brackets today, federal, we're looking at about 25 to 50%. So imagine if all your growth, all your gains, 25 up to 50, maybe even more later gets taxed because you didn't pay it on the upfront end, you paid it on the back end. Right? And so what we're saying is it's not all bad, you know, it's not all bad, but take advantage of free money. So if your company's offering a match, dollar for dollar, even 50 cents on the dollar, right? Take advantage of it. That's free money. Yeah. But there's usually a limit and cap as to how much they will match. So you want to just invest up to the match.
Okay.
And then anything over and above, you want to consider other options that are more tax advantaged so you can keep more of it later. Making sense?
Yeah,
Pretty
it does.
simple, right? Pretty simple. So last would be tax advantage.
Yes.
Tax advantage. So how does that work? So what you're going to do is you're going to pay income tax on your money this year. So you're investing after tax dollars. All that money grows tax free, and then you can access it tax free too, because you already paid taxes on it on the front end. So you're free on the back end. Okay, isn't that interesting? I never knew about this.
So explain that a little bit more. I want to understand that. I feel like I didn't understand that part, and I feel like it was very important.
Absolutely. So tax advantage accounts, right? How it works is you're investing after tax dollars. So you've already paid and reported income on your money this year. You've already paid taxes on that.
Yeah.
Now you're investing after tax dollars. That money grows tax-free, and you can access it tax-free later too, because you've already paid taxes on it on the front end. So you're free on the back end.
Okay, and you can place that wherever you want it without having to, as long as it's in the tax advantage slot.
You got it. And so, as you can imagine, right, the IRS profits the least in these accounts. They have the least amount of control in these accounts, because once you paid your taxes, it's all free roll for you at that point, right? Free roll for you at that point. Unlike a tax deferred account where they still have control.
Yeah.
Right? They still have control. They can up taxes and whatnot, and that's unfortunately our loss, right? Our loss. So in tax advantaged, because they have less control, right? Because they profit the least, they're going to put a lot of limitations and restrictions as to who can qualify and what you can use it for. Okay, so there are really three main accounts when it comes to tax advantaged. Okay, the first one being a 529 college savings plan. Okay, it's called a 529. And that's specific to school. Okay, so you if you have children, this is a great place to be, and it's specific to school. It used to be just for college, but they've dropped that. So it can be used also for, elementary school, so long as it's private, right? So you can use that. However, it's only for school. So if they don't use it for school, there's a 10% penalty, and you're gonna have to pay taxes on it too. So it's really restrictive, really restrictive. Okay. Next would be the Roth IRA. Okay. So rule number or option number one in tax advantage is the 529. Option number two right here is the Roth IRA, which is an individual retirement account. Okay. But it's the Roth, which means it's tax advantaged. Okay. So all retirement accounts, whether they're tax advantaged or tax deferred, okay, all retirement accounts, 401k, 403b, traditional IRA, or a Roth IRA, they're all tied to a 59.5 rule. So you can't touch it till 59.5, or there's a 10% penalty.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a 10% penalty. But with the Roth IRA too, just got to keep in mind that there are income limitations. If you're filing as a single person and making over about 140,000, unfortunately, you're overqualified and therefore disqualified from this account.
From the Roth IRA? What?
Yeah. Isn't that interesting? So take advantage of it while you can, because the goal is to make more money as you go, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Isn't that crazy? But I would say as a joint married couple, right? Married couple filing jointly, it's about $200,000. That's the limit. There's phase outs too. So as you get closer, you could put a little bit more in, but the max is about $6,000.
A year?
A year, yeah. If you're under age 50, if you're over age 50, you have a catch up. So that's $7,000 a year. That's it.
Okay.
I know, right? How does that make you feel? Why do you think that is?
The cap. I don't like that cap.
No, it's not cool at all. But that's why I help people get into these tax advantage strategies as much possible. And that's what makes me more atypical when it comes to financial advisor, because they don't take a tax advantage approach. As you can see, they would make less money putting you into these small accounts that are already capped.
Yeah.
Right? They're capped. So they're going to waste their time on these accounts. They rather put your money elsewhere, right, where there are no caps, because the more money they move, the more money they make. However, for me, it's all about education, tax advantages, tax strategies, and just like getting ahead, keeping more of your money. It's not about just how much you make that matters. It's how much you keep that really matters most, right? So that's that. That's that. Kind of crazy. Last one. Okay, we got 1 minute. People don't know about this. Okay? And this is option number 3. And that's cash value inside of life insurance. That's another option. Okay? I mean, we all have money in the bank because we have to, right, Andrea?
Yeah, we have to.
You have money in a life insurance account. Awesome.
Yeah. I remember when you told me about this, I kind of blew my mind. But go on. I want to hear more about it.
Yeah. So some people don't know, right? They think, oh my gosh, life insurance. Ugh, I don't want to talk about a death benefit. I don't want to talk about like the end. But what if I told you there are so many tax advantages and you could build wealth under the umbrella of life insurance and now it's tax-free?
It's amazing.
How cool would that be? Yeah, amazing, right? And here's the thing. I had to do a ton of research because I wanted to be sure. I wanted to be sure, not just for my family, but when I got involved with the company, I wanted to be extra sure for the families that I'm going to, help with these types of accounts. If I'm setting this up, I want to be absolutely sure that it's solid.
Yeah.
Did you know? Are you ready for this, Andrea? Did you know that banks own life insurance by the billions? And it's the core measure of a bank's strength is how much life insurance it owns.
Really?
Yeah. Isn't that interesting? So the biggest asset that a bank or major corporation holds is in how much life insurance it owns. And so what they do is they get it on their top key executives, right? Build this cash value. And then when that person croaks, all that death benefit that's tax-free also goes back to the corporation, goes back to the bank. I
feel like a lot of families should be run that way.
Thank you.
You should. I'm like, okay, you need life insurance. You do. All of you do.
Let's all protect ourselves. Why not? Right? So this is actually how it works, right? You've got the death benefit and then you've got cash value tied to it. All that money grows tax-free. You can access it tax-free too, which is really cool, right? And this is what they call basically a family bank. Okay. It's like a supercharged personal savings account and bank for families.
I love that.
Isn't that awesome? And you can use all this cash value for anything you want, Andrea. It's unlike the others. You don't have to wait until 59 and a half, right? It's not just for school. It could be for a business. Like what's important to you? Like, let's say you're like, my wedding next year. Okay, you can use it for that, right? Yeah. You can use it for whatever you want.
Yeah.
You can fund college with that too for your children. There's a lot more flexibility. So as you can see, there are a lot of living benefits within something that a lot of people consider just a death benefit.
You know? That is. I don't know if a lot of people realize that either, because I didn't realize that when you first told me that you could actually withdraw money from your life insurance for when you're alive.
Yes. And that's what's so cool. But, it's not for everyone because people need to qualify. It's based on your health too. So like for us with Transamerica, our whole platform is health and wealth. Like what's one without the other?
Yeah.
And isn't that so true in what you do too with wellness?
Yeah.
What's one without the other. And so that's why we offer a free financial plan. There's no obligation, but it's very holistic in that we're like, okay, what's your situation now? Right? What are your goals? What are your dreams? When was the last time you even thought about that?
Yeah.
And ask yourself that, right? What are some of your concerns? Right? And then we'll back engineer a plan and we'll show you different solutions to get you on track. Is this for everyone? Absolutely not. Yeah. But the fact that we have access to over 100 companies, like Nationwide is on your side, right? Prudential, Transamerica, Voya, like I can really fight for families. I can say, oh my gosh, these would be great options for you, because I have access to all these companies, right? Yeah. But my tip to everyone is get educated, right? Be invested in that. Be invested in yourself through the education. Make sure that you're working with A-rated companies that are solid in their financial backing, right? There's no public information. Go to their About Us, learn about their rating, make sure they're solid and, solid in their assets and their backing to pay out on their promises, right? Mm-hmm. If you have a financial advisor already, awesome. When was the last time you got a Second opinion.
True.
Second opinion, right? What I've realized from what I do, because my approach is so different, is that I complement what's already in place for many people where I can enhance their situation.
Okay.
You know what I
And
mean?
to schedule something with you, do you just do it over the phone? Do you do it in person? And how long does it usually take? And what do they need to bring?
Awesome. I love that you asked that. So everything due to COVID, right? It's all online, which is cool. But we do have an office, a local office here in the South Bay, LA. However, everything's done really via Zoom. It would probably take about just 30 minutes, right? We'll go through a little education and then we'll take it's like an intake where we learn about your current situation now because it's customized to you, right? We don't believe in a one size fits all. It's all about what's important to you. Everyone's situation is different, right? And then I do like basically a second appointment, and that would be when I share with you the different solutions that'll get you on track, right? That'll get you on track. And even at that point, there's no obligation, but you'll walk away at least with a financial plan. You'll walk away with everything organized in like a 10-page financial analysis.
Okay. And that's just with the second consult as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's really fun. We make it fun, right? We make it fun and we make it very educational. So it's a really empowering process. It's not as scary, we want to remove that. But, the more we know, the better off we'll all be, right? And so I'm so glad you got me on and I went over by 6 minutes.
You did?
I did.
You're so good. You did.
I did.
But this was good. This was great. This is how, it's funny, the way you talk right now is how you are in person. So I love it because you're really genuine about that. And people usually really want to hear you because you come across in such an authentic way. So I'm really happy that we got to have you on and you gave our audience some financial advice because it is much needed. Because like we said earlier, it's as a child, you're not really spoken to much about finances until you retire. And then you're like, well, hopefully you speak to somebody before then, but you never know.
Exactly. And always get a second opinion is what I say. Unfortunately in this industry, there are a lot of crooks.
Yeah.
They've got quotas to meet, right? We don't. So that's something that I've made sure that people feel good because I don't have a number over my head. That's not how it works. Not my style, not my vibe, right? It's just not our forte. It's not what we do. But get a second opinion. Always important to get a second opinion and get educated, right? Ask questions. Definitely ask questions. And, when I never saw myself in this, but I can't imagine doing anything else ever because I know we need more heart-centered people in this industry.
Yes, in finance, definitely.
People that actually care, right? That are going to take the time. When clients come back and they say, oh my gosh, I don't know what I would have done without you, right? I wish I met you 14 years ago. Things like that, you just know you're doing the right thing and you're making a change, right? And I'm hoping that I'll be able to continue this and help more people. And I appreciate that you gave me this opportunity to share my honest story.
Yes,
I hope everyone got a lot of value and learned something new.
Yes, definitely. And what is your contact information or web address?
Oh, oops, sorry. I just pushed a bunch of chats. And they're all here except, let's see. It's giving me errors. Did you see anything go through the?
I did. I have
a million.
Well, it placed on every single channel that I'm on. So it's okay. It's on 5 different places.
Oh, got it. So I would say go here. Let me copy and paste this. Let's do this. I had it all nicely formatted in.
It looks nice.
Does it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Okay, good. Because I had it all nicely formatted on this little memo to copy and paste, but
we got it. We got it for sure.
Okay, so you can find me on also winningforgood.com. That's really easy. So WINNING for good.com. You can find me on Instagram, LinkedIn. But yeah, reach out if you guys need advice or just want to get empowered or to collaborate in any way. I also host meetups, as you know, like how we met. So if you're an entrepreneur or if you're just a growth-spirited individual, I do host meetups online right now. It's typically done in person, but due to COVID, we're not doing that. Okay.
South Bay has her meetup is really great. So has some really great people there. But thank you for being on, Wynn. I really appreciate it. I'll talk to you soon.
Take care. Bye.